Good afternoon. These are your afternoon headlines. I'm Michael Fox. The growth of MMA through promotions like the UFC and Bellator has seen the lesser-known disciplines like Tai Chi hit the spotlight. Solent Temple is one of the few locations training the defence discipline around the country, where a variety of people come to train and maintain their fitness. Our reporter Sam Clark looked to discover the origins of Tai Chi and its health and sporting benefits.
Mixed martial arts has seen a rise since the early 2000s, with promotions like UFC and Bellator taking over the globe. This is what you expect to see from mixed martial arts: hard-hitting, fast-paced intensity. These are the qualities that made MMA so popular. But there is a discipline of the sport that are doing things a little bit different. A martial art in its own right, Tai Chi encourages calm and tranquility during its participation. Shaolin Temple trainer Jack Lucas explains the origin of the art.
So Tai Chi is, in its infancy, is a martial art. Some of the movements are based on animal movements. So when it was back developed thousands of years ago, the original master, he noticed how certain animals moved, and he based certain movements on how those animals poised and transitioned.
Shaolin runs classes every Thursday. Regulars Anne and Richard White encourage more people to take part in the sport.
Tai Chi is a very good exercise. It's good for stretching. It's also a mental exercise as well, because you've got to remember an enormous amount of things and coordination.
Yes.
So I think it's good all round.
It's good for all ages.
Yes,
I mean, we are the older members, but it's helped us a lot.
Despite the low numbers on this evening, Jack believes that participation in the sport has increased over the 7 years he's been at Shaolin.
Back when I first started, there was only a couple of us doing it. But since we've had our own facility here, we've now got classes, and we've had various people from various backgrounds just either trying it for the first time or who have done it from other schools and just wanted to come here, chance to see how we teach things as a change of pace, sort of things.
If you're interested in learning martial art without the intensity and the pressures of what you're used to seeing, this hidden gem of the MMA world might be for you. Sam Clark, Solent Sports News.
In football, Manchester United progressed to the round of 32 in the Europa League. They comfortably beat Partizan 3-0, including a goal from 18-year-old Mason Greenwood. United remain the only team not to concede in the tournament so far. Wolves also won. They clinched a winner in the 92nd minute against Slovan Bratislava to edge closer to the knockout stages. And it's that time of the month again, where the Premier League Manager and Player of the Month is announced. Chelsea's Frank Lampard was crowned Manager of the Month after 3 wins out of 3, and Leicester's Jamie Vardy was awarded Player of the Month, scoring 5 goals in 3 games. Now in boxing, the Staples Center in Los Angeles will host the KSI Logan Paul fight. This is the second time the two YouTubers will meet following a draw last year. World champions Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney will also feature on the undercard. The match is estimated to sell over 1.4 million pay-per-views, as well as selling out in the arena. We have Shabazz Masood here to give us a professional insight. So, Shabazz, thanks for speaking with us. As a young fighter coming into the sport, do you see the KSI versus Logan Paul fight helping the sport going forward?
I feel like it's a great thing for boxing because it brings a lot of new people to professional boxing, especially young kids who follow KSI and Logan Paul. So it'll bring more people into the sport.
I mean, if you had the opportunity to fight in the undercard of this game, would you have taken it?
You know what? I wouldn't have said no, because you would have gained a lot more followers because of it. So that's the main aim as a young fighter, is to build yourself.
I mean, as a young fighter yourself, do you see this as a safety risk, especially when they're non-professional fighters who aren't wearing head guards and 10-ounce gloves?
It is a safety risk. However, it's like a lot of people know in professional boxing, money talks, and they're going to be making big money. So, yeah.
And do you feel like this, I mean, for trainers, for example, how much of an impact do you think that they will have on the fight?
I don't think they'll have much of an impact because they've only been training for about a year or so. And their trainers, they've only been with them for a year. You only know how good a trainer is over a period of time.
So we've asked about other people. Tell us about yourself. What are you doing at the moment in your career? What's next?
Well, I'm 6-0 as a professional fighter. I'm a super bantamweight. I'm signed by Frank Warren. And I'm just building on next year, looking for a British title or a European title.
Thank you very much for joining us. Now, Solent Redhawks kicked off their season in exciting fashion. The American football team are aiming for promotion after finishing 4th last season. We sent our reporter Patrick Austin Hardy to Test Park to find out how they...
Even the cold and wet conditions are not enough to clip the wings of the Solent Redhawks. They got their Division 2A Southwest campaign underway with a dominant 33-0 victory against the Bristol Pellets. The team have been boosted by huge turnouts every single training session and some new recruits coming from overseas. Number 28 Felix Klein played in the German Football League before joining the Redhawks in September. The quarterback and receiver, who towers over his teammates at a whopping 6'7", believes the whole team put in an excellent shift.
We had a pretty good run game, and then we caught up with passing, and on the second half we just smashed them. Our defense gave them only 1 first down, and it was a very good game. We have pretty good bonding. We have pretty much every week we stay together, watch our training films, and analyze what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, and working on it every week.
It's hard to believe that 2 seasons ago, the team were relegated from the Bucks 1A Southwest Division without recording a single victory. Head coach Dan McMillan took charge of the team last season. He believes the team must remain calm and not let the victory get to their heads.
The squad right now is on the high that they're going to be off of a 33-0 win, the first game of the season. They just now need to understand that all universities are at different paces. It's a 3-year turnaround with students coming in and leaving, and that we don't know what the next week's Sunday this week is going to bring. However, from my side, I feel very confident this team is going to have no problems at all going into Sunday.
There is still a lot of work to be done for the Redhawks. They host the Bristol Barracudas in their next match on the 17th of November. With confidence as high as it has ever been, the Redhawks are in an excellent position to force their way into promotion. Patrick Austin Hardy at Test Park for Solent Sports News.
Cricket now. Dawid Malan has hit the fastest T20 century by an England batsman as they crushed New Zealand by 76 runs. Malan struck 103 from 51 balls to level the 5-match series in Napa, with 1 game remaining. We now speak to George Dobell from ESPN. George, thanks for speaking with us. As a cricket journalist, what do you think of England's approach to T20 cricket with young players like Tom Banton and Owen Morgan all coming into the team?
I thought it was exactly the right thing to do. We know that they have a very good white ball team already. They just won the 50 over World Cup. And they've taken the opportunity to look at some fringe players and also rest those guys who have worked so hard in the last few months. And I think it's shown that actually England's bench strength is
Matt
also
Parkinson.
pretty good.
It's Matt Parkinson, of course, I meant, instead of Owen Morgan. Now, with this in mind, how far do you think England can go in the T20 World Cup that's coming up?
I think they'd be disappointed if they didn't win it, which tells you how far England have come. I mean, to be fair, they should have won the last one. People will remember what happened in that incredible last over with Ben Stokes bowling to Carlos Brathwaite with those 4 successive sixes. But I think that they probably overachieved on that occasion, England, I mean. And perhaps this time they'll go into the tournament. And to be fair, it's almost a year away, probably as favourites.
I mean, what about Parkinson, the leg spinner? How exciting is he as a prospect?
He is exciting. He's unusual in that he's very slow. And generally, spinners have got quicker and quicker. And generally, that's happened for a good reason. So it might be a few more games into his international career, teams find him out a little bit, but I would probably back him to adapt and continue to improve. But what he showed, particularly today, is that he has the temperament to succeed. He's got quite a few skills. I wonder whether he's quick enough. But the fact is, he's actually played as backup to Adil Rashid. And if Adil Rashid is fit, he'll probably play. And what a great situation to be in, where you have, a young leg spinner who is beginning to put pressure on the incumbent. So that, again, it's very, very.
I mean, Tom Banton's very exciting too. Surely.
He's a absolute gem, and people are comparing him to Kevin Peterson, and I think that's fair. It's uncanny, actually, the physical characteristics. I'm not saying he'll go on to have that sort of career, particularly in the Red Bull game, but he looks a really, really special, exciting prospect. Who knows where the future will take him, but it's brilliant for England that he's one of theirs, and you would think he's got a 10-year international career ahead of him.
I mean, how do you think white ball is going to go into the Red Bull prospects for the players?
I think probably increasingly we'll see a differentiation between the selection of the teams, partly because if you're a young guy like Tom Banton, I'm not sure how much Red Bull cricket he'll get to play. If you look at his next 12 months, he's going to be on various England tours. He'll be in various leagues like the Big Bash, probably the IPL, which lead into his county commitments. So then he'll go into the T20 Blast or the 100. Well, where does he get to play any Red Bull cricket? So he probably will have to sacrifice his Red Bull ambitions, even if he doesn't want to, just because he'll be paid a shed load of money for playing white ball cricket. And who can blame him for taking it? It'd be a fool not to, wouldn't he?
George, thank you very much. What a fantastic insight. Really appreciated.
Pleasure anytime.
Now, the Rugby World Cup drew to a close last weekend, with South Africa taking home the Webb Ellis Cup. The scope of the game has been changed in the host nation, Japan. However, rugby has not progressed in England since they hosted the last World Cup 4 years ago. Josh Wolford investigated why that is.
Despite England narrowly missing out on the Rugby World Cup final last weekend, the sport remains less popular than football in England. The viewership spiked in 2015 when England hosted the Rugby World Cup, but as a nation we failed to capitalise on that success.
Although England's men's team looked to have improved drastically from their home tournament performance in 2015, the same cannot be said for the popularity of the sport. Despite this, Southampton Rugby Club coach Stephen Judd feels this year's tournament in Japan will have a positive effect on the sport, not only in England but also globally.
I do. I think the Japanese have really done a great job for the sport worldwide. England's performance in this country has definitely buoyed it on. I mean, that performance against New Zealand was complete. It just shows how much fun rugby can be.
Despite making at least the semi-finals in 5 of the 9 World Cups to date, England rugby still plays second fiddle to their footballing counterparts when it comes to nationwide popularity. Solent captain David Phillips feels the reason football remains more popular is because it is more easily accessible.
I think it's just because it's an easier pick-up sport. Like you can play football in the streets, like in the estates and stuff, a lot easier than playing rugby. Like you can kick a football against the wall, than playing like you kind of need like 3 or 4 people to play rugby. Whilst football you can play by yourself and kind of teach yourself it a bit more.
With the RFU undoubtedly keen to harness the newfound support off the back of England's run to the final, the future of the sport in this country could be subject to reform. Judd feels there are a number of ways in which the game could be fine-tuned, starting with a shake-up of the way the game is categorised.
I think we need to move away from age and we need to move towards size, so weight categories for rugby at under certain ages. So rather than getting a 10-stone kid against a 7-stone kid because they're the same age, you have 2 10-stone kids. So it's about ability rather than size, because anyone that played rugby in school went, give it to the fast lad or give it to the big lad. No one cared about the rest of the nations.
With the Six Nations coming up in the new year, England will be looking to harness the support and buzz created by the World Cup. Joshua Wolford, Solent, Sports News.
Eastleigh Football Club have been broken into for the second time in under 2 weeks. Significant damage was caused to the club, including their poppy appeal boxes which were taken. The club have pleaded for anyone with information to report it to the police. Our motorsport correspondent Tom Jackson was at Silverstone to discuss a new initiative for young drivers, which can help them obtain funding to push on and make their mark on the professional racing scene.
These are some of motorsport's brightest young talents. Any one of these 12 young drivers could be the next Lewis Hamilton. They've gathered together at Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, for the inaugural British F4 Scholarship Day.
The objective for the Scholarship Day today was to find talent for next year and to, for the lucky winner to pick up a cheque at the end of the day for £35,000, which goes towards their championship cost next year.
British F4 is seen by many around the world as the most competitive racing series of its kind, and in its short 4-year history it's already produced an F1 driver in McLaren's Lando Norris. It's a championship designed to let drivers ply their trade and develop their skills before progressing to other series. The drivers themselves are often still in school, with many completing their exams alongside their racing. For many, a prize like this is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
A day like this that has a lot of money on the line would be really helpful, especially because it's such an expensive sport.
The cars are rudimentary versions of Formula 1 cars, with 1.6 litre engines, allowing them to reach speeds of nearly 130 miles an hour. For parents, watching their children blast around a racetrack at those sorts of speeds can be nothing short of nerve-wracking.
It can be a little bit daunting, seeing the speeds that they get up to, but I think he loves what he does, and yeah, it's really cool.
It also costs a vast amount of money, often spiralling into hundreds of thousands of pounds worth. Without sponsorship, many drivers stop dead in their tracks.
Casper Seats.
For Casper, the prize is a life-changing amount of money for him and his family.
I always think I never really win these things, so to win it, it's just, I'm going to go into Christmas very happy. My family really feels the financial pressure of this, and we could only do a limited programme, but now, we can do a good amount of testing, good amount of tyres, and, really have no excuses.
With successful initiatives like this becoming all the more common, the financial barriers between drivers and their dreams are continuously being knocked down. From Silverstone, Tom Jackson for Solent Sports News.
Now in the FA Cup, Eastleigh are away to Southern League Premier Division's team Stourbridge in their first round of the trophy, with the reward a place in the second round against a possible Football League opposition. That's all from us. Make sure you stay up to date with all the latest headlines on our social media and our website, solentjournalism.co.uk.